So yeah, that was the first moment where I just was like, who am I without music and without, not even without music, but without validation, without outside validation? Like, am I gonna be able to believe in myself enough or believe, it impacted my faith in a huge way because I was like, does God even think I'm important anymore? Like, am I doing my duties, advancement of the kingdom? Like all of a sudden I was just like, oh no. And I had to really decide whether I believed that that's how life worked and how God worked and how love works.
It takes something a little more to lead with impact. I'm Lisa Nichols, author of Something Extra, and this podcast was inspired by our daughter Allie, whose additional chromosome has shaped how I see people in leadership. Each episode features conversations with inspiring leaders from around the world about what truly defines how they lead and serve others. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please consider leaving a 5-star review. It helps more people discover the show. And if you'd like to go deeper, my book, Something Extra, is available on Amazon and through other major book retailers. I am blessed to have Rachael Lampa on the show today. Rachael is an award-winning recording artist. Her recent hits include Perfectly Loved, Somebody to You, and Superpowers. Well, Rachael Lampa, I cannot tell you how excited I have been for this time with you. Oh my goodness.
Me too. I'm so glad we got connected.
I'm so glad too. So we have to give a shout out to Tommy Spalding.
Yes.
And Tommy's been a good friend, and he had reached out to me last year and said, Lisa, we just had Rachael Lampa in. They were doing their global summit, leadership summit. He said, we just had Rachael in. She performed this song. And he goes, I'm sitting there just thinking about you. And he goes, there was not a dry eye. And so he sends me the song, and I don't want to spoil it yet. We'll get into it. But he sent me a song. And of course, I'm listening to it and just bawling. And I'm like, Tommy, oh my goodness, I would love to have Rachael on the Something Extra podcast, and we're doing other stuff together too, and we'll tell our listeners about that. And I'm so excited, but it's just such a blessing to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Tommy.
Yes, thank you. Shout out to Tommy Spalding. Go get Tommy's books, everybody.
Yes.
I was in the where was I last week? I was in West Palm and was in one of the bookstores. And there was his Gift of Influence, which is one of my favorite books of his. And of course, I'm snapping pictures and sending them.
That's so
and
good.
yeah,
Yay.
he's a good dude. So go look up Tommy. But Rachael, I know you grew up in Louisville, Colorado. So you probably grew up doing all the fun outdoorsy things, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. Yep. I was a snowboarder, and I had all my phases. Like I was a skater girl for a little while. I played all the sports. I actually, I was super, super into sports growing up, and all the outdoor stuff. You just, hiking and camping and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it was a fun way to grow up.
Our middle daughter, Paige. So we've got Jordan, Paige, and Allie, and Allie's the youngest, but Paige was just in Denver this weekend with one of her best friends, and they hiked and they did all the outdoor stuff. And she said it's just beautiful there.
It's the best. It's 300 days of sunshine. I mean,
I know
it doesn't matter how cold it is or how much snow is on the ground. It's like there's sunshine.
Yeah, which is amazing. Well, I know you have an older brother and younger brother and sister, so you probably your older brother probably got you into some of those things too.
Yes, all the stuff. Yeah, I just wanted to do whatever he did.
Yeah, of course. I get it. Well, here's what I want to talk about. You are a very well-known Christian artist. You live in Nashville now, but you were discovered at the age of 14 or 15, I think. And were suddenly thrust into this public life. How did that season really shape you, how you understood who you are as a person?
Yeah, I think, it was the summer of 8th grade that I was sort of offered the contract. And so We are all we're trying everything on, at that age where
Yes.
we don't know if we're, which way we're going with life. And, um, so I was very much a normal kid in that way. So I think just like the rest of my peers, I was, definitely moving into this place of like, how do I dress and how much do I want to stand out and how much do I want to fit in? And that whole dance is so wild. And for me, I was not like that. You watch like The Voice and American Idol now and you're like, oh, that's a star. You like see a star.
Mm-hmm.
I was not that kind of kid. I wanted to, I just kind of kept it small and kept it simple and like just lean into the background and wanted to be friends with everybody. And so I just like played it really safe. And so, when I was 14 and I did perform all the time, which was like this kind of my first like uh, you know, what do you call it? Just the first way that like I was starting to wrestle with who I was like, do I like to be on stage or do I like to stand in the
The
background?
background
Like it was
vocals, right?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just or even just like nerves and just like just or do I even want to be on stage at all? And so I think it was definitely the beginning of like some pretty big push and pull of like who do I want to be in the world, and I just had to lead. The only thing I knew was that I loved music and I loved to sing and I felt uh, like lifted and different, when I would sing. And so I just had to kind of follow that first and just figure out little by little, what that all meant, but just kind of
Mm-hmm.
follow my passions and my loves and my dreams and the things that felt right and good at that age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Music is just one of those, though, that boy, because I grew up singing too. I started singing in
Oh, you
our
did?
church when I was 4. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
And still to this day, um, music is the thing that can just move me to a totally different place, right? Just emotionally, spiritually, everything.
Yeah.
It's so powerful, so
Yeah,
powerful.
some people have said like sometimes like the fastest way to anyone's heart is their ears,
Mm,
is through music, and especially for kids, for young people.
yeah,
It's like there's it reminds you that there's something else happening,
yeah,
in the world, and it's
right,
not just
right.
all what we see right in front of us.
Exactly. Now, here's what I've always heard: the fastest way to a man's heart is through his mouth, right? Or through his stomach. So be a
So
good
food
cook.
and
Yeah.
music.
Yes, food and music, those two
Yep,
things,
yep.
very
I
important.
like both of those things too, so.
Yes, me too. Me too. So, this is interesting because, you had written and sang the song Blessed. I think you
Mm,
wrote it. I know you performed it.
yeah,
You
I
know,
did not write it,
you did
but
not write it.
yeah.
That song, oh my goodness, Rachel, I have had that song on repeat. I love that song so
Oh,
much, and the way you did, you won a Dove Award
yeah,
with that
yeah,
song.
yeah,
When you like looking back at that young girl, I mean, what would you say to her now? I mean, she's singing
yeah.
that song "Blessed," winning a Dove Award. What would you say to her, Rachel?
I would just say keep leaning into who you like, keep listening to your heart. I know that kind of sounds a little trite,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's really easy to get carried away in all the events and the glitter and the excitingness of everything, and there there was like a little I can like pinpoint all the times where I'm like, ooh, that was a heart move, like that was a heart thing. And even the song Blessed, even how that came about. So when I was signed, I was 14, and I wasn't a songwriter yet. I was, just singing. I was singing Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston karaoke.
Sure.
That was my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't know how to write a song yet. So what the record label did for me was they rented a house out here in Franklin, actually, and they invited me and my mom to stay there for a few weeks while writers would come in and out and come like have meals with us and take walks with us and just ask me questions about what it's like to be me and what's going on in my heart, what's going on in my head. And Blessed is one of those moments. I took a walk with my friends now that wrote the song, Cindy Morgan and Ginny Owens, and I was able to just kind of tell them like, I don't know, I'm 14. Like I feel this way. I feel like I'm
Yes.
blessed just to wake up in the morning and to have somewhere to rest, and that I'm held the whole time. And so like I and that song, continues to like be true and stay fresh to me because I think I need that song more now than I did then,
Right. Right.
uh,
It's a
like
great way to start the day. I'm telling
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yes.
simple but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I would just say to stay connected to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I were to speak
Good.
back to her. Yeah.
That is good. That is good. Well, I know that you grew up in a faith-filled home, and I know that, that probably your faith probably sustained you during that success.
Yeah.
But, growing up in public while still trying to figure out your own voice, that is not for the faint of heart. I mean, it's harder, I think, than people really probably realize.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely had a lot of ups and downs in that time, like
Mm-hmm.
lots of doubting myself and insecurity and imposter syndrome and oh my gosh, just anything that can come and talk me out of what I was doing came along for sure.
Sure.
um and I think ultimately, I did get burnt out. I did get to the point where I was like, okay, I don't know what my own voice sounds like anymore and what God's voice sounds like because there's so many voices, like there's
Yes.
so many people weighing in on how I should look and what I should sing about and
Mm-hmm.
what should be next. And for me, it was like I needed to kind of like clear the noise. So I definitely like there was a point where I was like, is this over? Am I just gonna be done? Or do I need a break? And uh, you know, uh, thank God I had great people around me. I had my brother and my mom, and we just kind of decided like we don't have to know the answer. We don't have to
Mm-hmm.
have
All
this
figured out.
big right, yeah, or this this end date or this plan for this time of stepping away. I knew I just needed to like get quiet, clear the noise, and just breathe for a second and figure out what my own heart was saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so you did that. You were
Yeah, yeah,
20, right? You were
yeah,
20 and walked away from this wildly successful career. And you said, I read somewhere where you said, you just didn't feel peace. You didn't feel
yeah,
peace during that time. You had some anxious anxiety,
yeah,
felt
yeah,
lots of pressure. Um, you know, you've talked a lot about untangling, and I can see it's not just like what other people are saying. So you had all these voices speaking into you, Rachel, but also the pace at which you were
yeah,
going, I'm sure, like touring and
yeah,
doing the events and new albums and yada yada yada. It's like
yeah,
sometimes when you're going with that pace, what I have seen, like, not like in the music world, but even in business and building a
yeah.
business, you're just going at this pace and you kind of get on autopilot sometimes,
Yes, yes,
where you
yeah.
truly do lose kind of, like you said, kind of your own voice, or how am I even feeling
Yeah. Yeah.
about
And,
all of
and and
this?
it catches up with you. I think
Mm-hmm.
I remember like at a certain point I was like, man, how have I kept going this long? Like, because it's like I knew that I was putting off something really important. I knew that I needed to catch my breath, and I knew that I needed like something to come along that would like cause me to like go inward for a second. But I just kept going
Yes.
outward, 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 and like just saying yes, and you know just kind of letting everyone else make the decisions for me, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and I remember knowing like, I know this is going to catch up with me. And I wish I did it. I wish, that question that you asked me at the very beginning, it's like, I wish I did stay connected to my heart in that moment. Um,
But you were also
because
14, Rachel.
yes,
You were
definitely.
14. And so,
Absolutely. And I do it now. I catch myself
mhm,
now and I'm like,
sure.
"Oh, yep, that wasn't my heart speaking. That was something else."
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's
yeah, it definitely I get what you mean. Like, yeah, you get in this autopilot scenario, and then suddenly, for me it would be suddenly somebody's like, "Okay, it's time to make a new album. What are you inspired by?" And I'm like, I don't know. I just want to go to sleep. Like, I
right.
haven't even looked around long enough to get inspired because I'm just going like head down straight through. And I'm sure it gets like that in business too, because it's just like everything that we do has to be inspired by something, and be
Absolutely.
moving by something that is deeper than, you know,
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
what we see in front of us. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. I betcha. Because for me, sometimes just like getting out in nature,
yeah,
taking a walk, taking the dog for a walk. I mean,
yeah,
it's interesting, and I've kind of come up with this phrase, like be present where my feet are planted.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And instead of if I'm interacting with Allie or I'm interacting with a friend or I'm taking a walk, I'm trying to take in everything around, the birds and the
yeah,
beauty. And that is truly where I think, for me anyway, inspiration comes from.
yeah,
Like I'll see, like one day I was walking and I was just watching the birds go from one tree to the next. And of course,
yeah,
sometimes they fly really far, right? But I'm like,
yeah,
sometimes it's like, even like if you've got this huge project, the epiphany just came to me. Sometimes you've got this huge project in front of you that just looks so monumental and so impossible. But look at
mm.
the birds. They're like going from one tree
Tree
and
to
then
tree.
tree to tree. And I was
Yeah,
like, wow. But see, I mean, if you don't take the time to kind of slow down,
yeah,
those thoughts
yeah,
never even come to you because you're just,
right.
barreling through, I guess,
Yes,
if you
yep,
will. But
exactly.
but you chose a nanny job,
I
right?
did.
Which
Yeah,
is such a contrast
I
to
know.
being
It
on
was,
stage.
yeah, it was whiplash.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but it was so great. I wanted to do what all my friends were doing at the time. And they
right.
were all just kind of taking, they were in college, they were taking their nannying jobs and their babysitting jobs. And I was like, I want to do that. Yeah, that sounds good.
Right?
Yeah.
So what
So
did
I did.
that season teach you? I am sure a
Oh my God.
lot, right?
Well, for
Taking care
sure
of children. Uh-huh.
to get on the floor, and like just like touch the grass, like
Yeah.
everybody's saying now, like just get grounded, like
Mhm.
feel the earth and stop, yeah, stop going so much. Like to show up to the same place every day was something that I never did. Like I was always traveling.
Mhm.
So to wake up and show up, so like consistency, rhythm, like I all of a sudden had this rhythm to my life. And then just, the unexpectedness of kids and just the best like little words and thoughts and ideas, and
Yeah.
I needed that. I needed all that sweet purity and innocence, and
Yeah.
just all the laughs. It was just a good time to simplify.
Yeah, I love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Well, how do you think, I mean, what were some of the things that you rediscovered about yourself?
Oh God.
So you had this slowing down, a little bit of, anonymity, if you will.
Yeah,
I mean, you were no
yep,
longer out there on stage. I mean, what were
yep.
some of those things that you uncovered about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, immediately it was really hard because I was like, am I purposeful anymore? Like, do I
Mhm.
do I even matter anymore? Like, what's my, what's the point? Like,
What's
what's
my
my purpose in life?
contribution and
Yeah, yeah. I
mhm.
went from, getting all this, outside validation, um, and, as a young person, having all these people on my team and having all these people cheering me on, and all of a sudden it's just like, bye, like just like you're on your own now. Like maybe the kids you're watching will give you a round of applause, but probably not.
Probably not. Oh my goodness.
So yeah, that was one the first moment where I just was like, who am I without music and without not even without music, but without validation, without outside validation. Like am I gonna be able to believe in myself enough, or believe even like, it impacted my faith in a huge way, because I was like, does God even think I'm important anymore? Like, am I doing like my duties,
Yes.
for like, advancement of the kingdom? Like all of a sudden I was just like, oh no. And I had to really decide whether I believed that that's how life worked and how God worked and how love
God
works.
saw you, I mean, like, what
Yeah.
does he say, right, about you?
Right.
And we're going to get into this, but
Yeah.
Allie is our youngest, and I would say
Yeah.
what she has really taught me is our worth does not equal our productivity. It
Oh my
does
gosh.
not equal performance.
Yes.
Right? And I kind
Yes.
of grew up a little bit in a performance type culture where it's like
Yep.
it's the grades and the accolades and accolades of men. Men, women, I'm
Wow.
saying men in a generic term, but
Okay. Yeah.
the accolades of other humans
Yeah.
can be a very addictive
Yes.
thing, don't you think?
Comparison. Oh my gosh. It is the thief of joy. Like it is just not, yeah, that was a really hard road for me, was just watching my peers who weren't burnt out,
Yeah.
and watching, my friends like, get on some fun tour, and I'm like, I left that. I did it on purpose, but I was, what was I thinking? And
Yes.
oh, it was, yeah, there's just always a reason to wrestle with that, until you do really decide to believe like that's not the way that love works,
Right. No, I
and
agree. And that your worth is not
yeah,
tied to that, right? And
that's right.
so they're
That's right.
so deep.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really deep. Well, I'm
It
going to
does.
ask you
Yeah.
one more question, then we have to take a really quick break.
Okay.
But you went on, and I love this. I've not been able to watch your Homefulness documentary
Oh,
yet, but I'm going to, because I know that you guys
yes.
have a documentary out there. But I think your big brother
Yeah.
started loving Nashville. People
Yeah.
loving
People loving
Nashville.
Nashville. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And you became a part of that. I think your whole family got involved, and it's
Yes.
become a really sacred weekly rhythm. In fact, I think I remember reading somewhere, and this could have been earlier on. You may have missed a few, but by
Yeah.
now. But I think I read where you never even missed a Monday night. Tell
Yeah.
our listeners about people loving Nashville.
Yeah. So my brother started this nonprofit in Nashville. There's a big long backstory, but basically, we grew up, me and my siblings grew up, with when we had extra food, my mom would take us to downtown Boulder, and she'd say, go make some friends, see if anybody's hungry out there. And she just kind of let us go. I'm sure she watched more than we remember she watched, like
Right.
in our minds, she kicked us out of the minivan and we were, out there for hours, but I'm sure she was right behind us.
Right.
But we've always had a big emphasis in our family on taking care of others, and so it was a very natural thing for my brother to just kind of go out there and bring his extra food out. And he ended up meeting a couple friends, and they said, hey, you bring friends and I'll bring friends, and we should do this again next week. And then it just kind of kept going, and through a lot of back and forth with God, it ended up becoming a every Monday night thing. And for 17 years, People Living Nashville has never missed a Monday night. So it started with and so on Monday night, it's basically a block party in downtown Nashville. It started with two people and grew. It's about 500 people now that come down to get food and to get clothing. We have shower trucks. We have street barbers. We have clinics and pet clinics, and kind of just whoever wants to show up and help, we let them in. It's a block party, and so it's ended up becoming this like really beautiful community, real friendships. We've obviously partnered with the city at this point, and they have really been helping us get people rehoused and rehabbed and recovered, and just kind of all the things that it takes to help each other. Yeah, totally. To keep thriving. And so it's been the one thing in our family's life, but even beyond, that has given like, for me, it was the one thing that gave me meaning again to do music again, and that that's kind of further down the line.
Yes.
But that's kind of the thing that really kept my heart
right.
alive.
I love it. And it was a grassroots effort,
Very much.
Very much of a grassroots, and now has grown into something. So listeners, go out, Google People Loving Nashville. You'll find out all about the organization. And like I said, they've got a documentary out there called Homefulness, which I'm really looking forward to sitting down and watching with our family. But we do need to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Rachael Lampa on the Something Extra podcast.
Hey there. In a challenging business climate like this, savvy leaders look to technology to find an edge. This can mean the difference between staying ahead of the curve or playing catch-up. It's time to collaborate with the highly skilled experts at Technology Partners. Our team of technologists draws upon decades of experience for your project, with each bringing a passion for solving problems and a track record of success. How can we help you overcome your biggest technology challenges? Visit technologypartners.net to book a free consultation with one of our leaders.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Something Extra podcast with my friend Rachael Lampa. We've just been having such a great time. Well, Rachael, I would love for you to talk about this a little bit, because we just talked about People Loving Nashville. Then you started working in the prisons, in the women prisons. And, what did that teach you about worth and identity? What did you learn working in the prisons?
Yeah. For me, it was like this instant community, of women. We started to, we ran things like AA, ACA. We did songwriting classes. We did, just kind of, we put together bouquets of flowers together. Like, we just found reasons to be together, to talk about real life, real things. And the thing about those walls, is that there is this sense of like, why not just be all that we are, be honest, lay it out on the table, and let's see if we can do some healing, and it was the same for all of us who came in to serve. Like, we all came in with our own pain and our own questions and our own stories. And, I was walking in with all this identity stuff, and
you're figuring it. They probably helped you figure stuff
out. 1,000,000%. I will say that till the last day. Like, we all spoke into each other's lives, and so I think that of anything is like, hey, our stories, there are a lot of different ways to live life. Our stories are all going to look very different, but they're also going to look really, really similar. And I think that was like such a big, thing for me, was to just sit somewhere and connect with people with nothing to lose and nothing to gain. Like, we just were, we were just human together, without, taking selfies and without, talking about it, outside. But one thing that we did was we called ourselves the Wild Ones. So we had like this group, like, that would like go through different classes and stuff together. And it was called the Wild Ones. And part of it was we would read about the wild ones of the Bible. And Jesus being the wildest one, Jesus being the one who pushed buttons, he was, radical love. And did things the way to make and made a lot of people really uncomfortable about the way that he treated the poor and women. And so he pushed against, and so to be able
Mm-hmm.
to like find ourselves in that story and not the cookie cutter, story that we may have been given growing up that might have made us feel like we're out of we're outcasts, or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we ruined it, we messed it all up, whatever the story is that we want to tell ourselves.
Yes.
And so to be able to like see yourself in this story together, and see yourself being seen,
Yes.
by God and by each other,
Wow.
and
I
not
love
feeling
that.
invisible anymore,
Yeah.
despite mistakes and despite really hard upbringings and really hard childhood traumas and
Promise.
all of
Mm-hmm.
the stuff. Yeah. So to be able to just exist together, that was it. That's the thing that God told me. It's like you are important and you are purposeful because you exist, because you're alive, because you're a child of God, and that's it. That's the only title you need. And I think you find that out too. I think a lot of the inmates found that out in prison too, where it's just like this is all you have, all you need
Mm-hmm.
to live a flourishing, purposeful life, because all you need is the heart that's beating in you and that I created, and so
Mm-hmm.
I I really refound that real life God, again, while working in prison.
So beautiful. I
Yeah.
love that. I love
Yeah.
that you called Jesus the wild one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
love
know. I know.
that,
At
because
first people are like, "Ooh, I don't
but
know."
he did kind of, what do they call it? Kick against the goats.
Yeah.
Like I'm just thinking when you were saying that, I was thinking, yeah, I mean, he was kind of wild. He was very radical because I was thinking about the woman at the well,
Yeah.
and the Samaritan woman at the well, and she's like, "Why are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I'm a Samaritan. Jews and Samaritans don't talk, and especially
A woman.
men did not talk
Uh-huh.
to the women, right?"
That's right.
And she had, it was at noon, and none of the women came at noon because it was too hot. But God,
That's
he
right.
just knew all about her. Yeah, but she
Yes,
felt
that's right.
seen. She
That's
felt
right.
seen.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. That's it.
So beautiful. Well, I want to talk about this because of that, you wrote another song
Oh yeah.
that, in fact, a friend of mine, when I was telling her about you and that you're what we're going to talk about that I'm really excited about, she's like, "Oh my goodness!" She goes, "Perfectly Loved is like my
Yeah.
favorite song." So you wrote Perfectly Loved,
Yes.
because of that experience, and
That's right.
I know it won, I believe, a K-Love award,
Yes.
at
Yeah.
least. Such a
Yeah.
beautiful song. So
Thank
listeners, go listen to the song. Go
Yeah.
listen to the song Perfectly Love. It's really beautiful. But that
Thank
really
you.
is what got you returning to music,
Yep.
right?
That's right. That was
Rachel?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw how music affected so like because I feel like you have like a really honest podcast. I'll just
Yes.
say, like, I was so jaded about Christian music at that
Mhm.
point. I was
Mhm.
like, I don't want to do it again. I feel like it's all been said, it's all been sung, it's just repeating over and over. What could I say, that could add to it? And um, and so I kind of had this jadedness in me, and I sat there with these women in this prison, and they started playing some of these songs. They started playing like K-Love and stuff, and I started seeing women like be like completely come alive again, and like totally
Mm.
release things that they needed to release and accept things they needed to accept through this music. And then all of a sudden, I just was like, oh, I get it now. Like I I had gotten so like hard-hearted towards it that I just forgot that there's a whole other that God is doing a whole other thing on top of all this, and um
Yeah.
it's not just words and notes, it's like, it's a
Mm-hmm.
whole thing. And I
Yes.
was like, I want to be part of that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to do that again. And so COVID came along and we weren't able to go back in. And so I wanted to write a song to send back into the girls, to let them know what my time with them meant and what I learned. And
Mm-hmm.
that was perfectly loved. So yeah,
Beautiful. So beautiful.
yeah,
Well, I'm just thinking too, Rachel, as we're talking, I'm thinking, these women were in prison,
yeah,
but music helped them find freedom.
yes,
You know,
yes,
so they are
yes,
in prison, but they are finding freedom
yep.
in that situation,
That's
through the music and through the time that you guys are spending, and you introducing them to Jesus, basically.
Yep, yep. Your heart can be
Beautiful.
free. You can be locked away, but your heart can be free, and
Hmm.
that's absolutely what was happening.
So beautiful.
Yeah,
Well, this is what I'm really excited about talking about,
yeah.
and why, when our friend Tommy sent me this song, I'm just like, what? Just bawling,
Oh,
But you're a mom. You're a mom to Jackson and Leo.
that's right.
What has motherhood really revealed to you about God's heart toward you?
Mm, oh my gosh. Well, I think it further cemented that you don't have to do anything to deserve love and to deserve
Yes.
purpose. Yeah, like you literally just have to exist because we hear that our whole lives and we're like, I'm sure God loves me like that, whatever. But
Right.
then you start loving your kid and you're like, "Oh my gosh, you could say the worst thing to me. You could be the biggest brat and I'm still going to be so obsessed with you."
Yes.
I might
Yes.
need to take a few breaths, but I'm still gonna love you like can't I could never stop. And
Mhm,
so,
mhm.
being able to see the mirror of his love for me down to my kids was pretty, yeah, was pretty like monumental for
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
Finally really being able to understand that. But yeah, and then, just getting to return to the childlike faith, again, and just thinking simply and trying to think at their level and trying to reframe the way that I approach people, uh, having more grace and kindness and uh, patience and
Patient.
gentleness. Yes. Patience.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, yeah. So all those
Oh,
things.
all
All
those
those things.
things, yeah.
Yeah.
I have often said, nothing has kept me quite on my knees
Yeah.
and as
Yes.
dependent as
Uh-huh.
being a mom, seriously.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
this is the song that Tommy sent to me. It's called Superpowers.
Yes.
And again, when I listened to this song, I mean, I started weeping. But you wrote this about Leo,
Yes.
and Leo is your little 3-year-old that was born with
Yes.
Down syndrome. I and people that know me know they know Allie. In fact, they may
Yeah.
know Allie and not know me.
I've been finding that out too with Leo.
Yes, yes. How has Leo really expanded your definition of strength, Rachel?
Oh, he has, yeah, that's right. It's not he has made me stronger, but he has redefined strength to me for sure.
No doubt.
Strength is like so much more of an internal uh uh muscle, internal like uh striving. Like there's something like that uh wants to never give up. Like
Yes.
I know that I will be like running his race with him till far beyond being able to run. Like
Right.
I won't ever stop. Like
Right.
there's just strength is such a long game. It's also such a present thing.
Mhm.
Um there's something so present about these little beings with Down syndrome. There's
Yes.
something that's so just immediate and right there, right uh, right, like between the two, like that connection, that eye contact, that just, there's like,
Yes.
everything else fades away,
Amen.
and
It's so
it
pure.
causes,
It's so
what's that?
pure. It's so
Yes, it's
pure,
so pure. And it causes
Rachel.
you to do that with everyone else too. It's not
It
like this
does.
exclusive club. It's like, oh, you're giving me this so that I can give this to the world too. And to my other kids, and just
It's,
beyond. It's just
yeah.
amazing how,
We
it
could
just
just
trickles.
talk about this the
I
whole
know. I
entire
know.
time,
I
right?
know. I start just yapping.
Yes, well, and I'm going to send you the Something Extra book of my Something
Oh,
Extra
yes,
book that
thank
just came
you.
out in September. And yeah, you and I mean, we just get it. We get it because,
Yeah.
like you said, the way that you interact with him has caused you to interact differently with other people. And I would say,
Yeah.
I say this all the time, and it is the honest truth. Ellie is one of my greatest teachers. I've learned
Yes.
so much about life. I've learned so much about how to live. I've learned so much about people. I've learned
Yeah.
so much about leadership
Oh my gosh, I
because
bet.
of Allie. I really
Oh,
have. So,
I love that. Well, yeah, I mean, I say this a lot too, like with people ask like why did I call it superpowers? I just think that, especially when you said leadership, I'm like, yeah, that's such a good one.
mhm.
It's like he does lead our family in certain ways. We're my older son Jackson is like this soccer star. He's so amazing. He's just like this, just athletic, like, beyond. I'm like
Yeah.
his biggest fan,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
And me and my husband, we both work, and we're always, we're ideas people, and we're just going. So Leo, he is this guy that, like, anytime I'm about to like change his diaper or like put him in his car seat, or anytime I'm really truly just in a hurry, he stops everything and he goes, and he puts his arms out and he's like, I think we got a hug. And I'm like, I totally don't have time for a hug, but I'm gonna do it because you're the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
And somehow there's just always time for this hug. And
Uh-huh.
it's like he creates time. Like,
Yeah.
and so that's when I
It's
started thinking, like,
beautiful.
oh, you've got superpowers. Like,
Uh-huh.
you created time where there wasn't time. And you created connection where there wasn't connection. You created connection when there was a hurry,
Yes.
and you created, and like, you were saying, like, leadership. It's like you created this new way to think about this whatever's in front of us, because you have superpowers that we don't
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
and
It's
and
so
so
good.
yeah,
Sometimes,
yeah.
and Allie will remember me, or she'll remind me sometimes, she
Oh,
can tell that I'm getting anxious. And she'll
ooh.
say, take a breath.
Oh,
Take a breath,
sweetie.
mom,
Oh
and
gosh.
I will
So
tell
sweet.
you one thing. I've never said this on the podcast. I've never said this
Uh-huh.
on the podcast, but I'm going to say it to you.
Oh,
Before every podcast, Rachel, she prays for me
she does.
and
Oh my
prays that the podcast goes well. And she'll always add this. She goes, and help them not to laugh at my mom. I don't know where that comes from, but she does
Yes.
every time. I know it's coming, she's
Oh
like,
my
yeah, and help them not to laugh at my mom, but she does. She
gosh.
prays before every podcast,
That is
and just that it will
beautiful.
be a sacred time, and that the words that come out from you, come out from me, will be what our listeners need to hear. It's just so
Oh, that's
beautiful.
beautiful. Thank you,
So
Allie.
beautiful. I know. So let's talk about this, and then we're going to talk about something extra,
Okay.
guarding your worth, when
Yeah.
applause and metrics are no longer the measuring stick, I mean, how do you think about your worth? And and you've kind of already said it, but I'd love for you to repeat that. And then I
Yeah.
want to talk about a healthy yes, right? Because, and Rachel, I'm getting my EA, whom you have met, will tell you this. I'm getting so much better at this,
Uh-huh.
but making sure that I understand for Lisa Nichols what are the most important things and prioritizing those. So I'm not saying yes to everything, because when
Right.
we say yes to one thing, it means that we're saying no to something else, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
really hard. And I'm a person, I kind of grew up, with this kind of people pleasing. I don't want to disappoint you, and I want to make you happy. And so,
Yeah.
but I would love for you
Yeah.
to talk
Yeah.
about worth, how you think about
Okay.
worth,
Uh-huh.
and then the healthy yes and the
Okay.
boundaries that you put around yourself.
I love it. Okay. So for worth, everything we've talked about is just like this whole path is like worth, identity, all that purpose, all that stuff. And then along comes Leo, and it like, I can't tell you how much unlearning and healing happened at the same time. It was like, I just like threw away this whole thing I was hanging on to about thinking that I can deserve or I can earn love. You don't have to earn love. You are beautiful and accepted and loved and known exactly where you're at. Even if you're at the most invisible that you've ever felt. I mean, for me, like having a newborn was especially with Jackson, my first kid, was one of the most invisible times I've ever felt. I've never just like had to like stay in, like that,
Right.
and just kind of be like, so, just like in the depths of like feeding troubles and all that kind of stuff, and had a little bit of that with Leo too. So to learn that, to have that new voice just running through my head, like, if I'm gonna teach that to him, because I wholeheartedly believe and know that he is the most worthy child, just as worthy as any other child in the world. So if I'm going to teach him that, then I need to believe it myself. And so I have to continue to speak that over him and over myself every single day, and not feel like I have to be perfect at it, and
Yes.
and not dwell on it if I fall into those mindsets again. But I have to keep resetting, and he is the perfect way to reset that, because I see it in him every single day.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love that you
that's
said that every day, that
yeah,
you have to speak. It's not a one and done,
no,
right? It's not.
not at
I
all.
mean, we need
Yeah,
to constantly be monitoring what's coming into here,
that's right.
the mind,
In a loving
right?
way. Like, we can
Yes.
lovingly do that and not beat ourselves up. I think we beat ourselves up when we think that it is a one and done, and we're like, oh, I should have learned this by now. I should have, and it's like, no, just lovingly, like, come back,
Yes. That's
Yeah.
good. That's a good word. I love it. Well, what about healthy yeses?
Healthy yeses. So, this might be a little bit of like a songwritery answer.
Okay, I love it. New song.
It's a little more like, I don't know what you would call it. Maybe it's musically worded, but I heard this thing that really helped me, because I think sometimes I want to like have this like perfectly balanced life, like yeses and nos and yeses and nos and this and this. And I realized, like, again, like, I'll beat myself up if I get off kilter at all. And so I heard this concept of like, maybe instead of having this perfectly balanced thing, maybe it's get better at harmony, at like being in harmony with when things aren't quite black and white, and aren't quite like a yes and aren't quite a no. And maybe we can give a little bit of ourselves to something on this side, but maybe not my whole entire being. Maybe, and maybe that's harder for perfectionists. I don't know if you're a perfectionist.
Yes.
I
Very
just
much.
learned that I was one. I had no idea that I was one.
Right.
Somebody told me, a therapist told me, and I was like, oh, yep, I think you're right. So to be able to just say, hey, like, I can give you 10 minutes of my time for this, and I can give you, maybe I can't write, a 20-page, reflection on this thing, but I could give you a really good voice note,
Sure.
or,
Yeah,
something
that's
like
good.
that, and just get creative. And then that way when you do want to, when something is tugging at your heart and you want to go fully in on it, you can bring balance to it in its own way, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And so just that concept of like harmony over perfection,
I love it.
has been really
That's
helpful for
rich.
me.
That's really rich, Rachel. I love it. Well, I'm just going to say, I am so grateful. I'm going to announce this. I'm so grateful that you said yes to a
Yeah.
request that I had this year. It is the Gateway Down Syndrome Association of St. Louis's 50th anniversary. And so
Woo!
they had asked me to co-chair, and how could I say no to that, right? Co-chairing with the amazing Ray Kleeman, the CHRO for RGA here, Reinsurance Group of America here in St. Louis.
Okay.
And after I heard that song, I'm like, wow, I wonder if Rachel would come for the 50th, and you are coming on
I'm
November the
coming.
14th at the Chase Park Plaza.
Yay!
So I am so grateful that you said yes to that. And little Leo, God willing, and if the creek don't rise, it's going to come with you and some of your band. And so
Yes. Yeah.
so excited about that. So thank
Oh, we're
you
so excited. I
so
can't.
much for saying yes. And you may even make it a family affair
I'm gonna
because
try. Yes.
because Jenny and I have been telling you about how wonderful. I mean, St. Louis
I
has
know.
so much to offer.
Oh
So
my
much
gosh,
to
I love it
offer.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it there.
Big shout out to Dwight Scott, the CEO for St. Louis Zoo, and our good friend Jennifer Walton, the #1 zoo. I said it's the #1 zoo in the country. So you
That's
guys,
right.
your whole
She's given
family.
St. Louis some rave reviews.
Yes, yes, yes. So, well, this is called Something Extra, Rachel. And this is the question that I ask every guest that comes on the show. What do you believe is the something extra that every leader needs?
Ooh. Okay, let's see. Every leader. Well, I would say that so I'm gonna bring Leo back in because I
Yeah.
think this is the thing that has helped me uh actually build time into my day
Mm-hmm.
is to take away time and save it for the things that fill your heart, and whether that's
Mm.
a point of connection with your kids, if it's a hug, if it's a literal hug like with Leo,
Yes.
if there's something that your heart needs and you don't think you have time for it, I dare you to take the time. And
So
I
good.
I dare you to come back and say that you lost that time.
Oh, that is
Yeah,
so good. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm thinking sometimes we have to cut away,
yeah.
right? We have to
Yes.
cut away. I'll just, a spiritual mentor of mine has been Dr. Richard Blackaby.
Okay.
And years ago, I was sitting under him, and he was talking about the scripture from Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah 43, and I can't remember the exact verse, but it's like forgetting
Okay.
the things that are behind and, pushing toward those that are new, and forget
Mm,
those things, right? And
yeah.
behold, I'm doing something new. And
Yeah.
Dr. Blackaby, I'm telling you, Rachel, it hit me
Okay.
like just a 2x4 in the middle of the head. But
Wow.
he's like, sometimes we are running so fast.
Yeah.
God wants to do something entirely new in our life, but we're running so fast, we've created no margin for that.
Right. That's right.
And sometimes you have to cut away to
Yep.
make the time for the things that fill you up.
That's right.
And boy, it was yeah, I made changes. I made changes after he
Huge.
said that. Huge changes. Yes.
That's awesome.
And so
That's
it just reminds me so much of that. But this has been such a delight. Thank you so
yes.
much. And
Of
you've already
course.
had a full day. Little Leo's already had his swimming lesson this morning. And I'm
I'm literally in a swimsuit right now.
right, exactly. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, thank you again so much. I just am
Thank
so
you.
appreciative, and I just know our listeners are gonna love this conversation with you,
Oh, good.
and hopefully they'll come and see you in person
Yeah.
on November the 14th at the Chase Park Plaza. So
So fun. We can't
anyway,
wait.
Something Extra with Lisa Nichols is a Technology Partners production. Copyright Technology Partners, Inc. 2019. To learn more about this week's guest, check out the show notes at tpi.co/podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, consider leaving us a review. Thank you for listening to Something Extra.